early January of 1956, Broadcasting Magazine wrote that CBS was once again hyping radio drama thanks to renewed public interest. The network was bringing the CBS Radio Workshop back to the air and debuting 2 new dramatic offerings on Sunday afternoons. At 5 p.m., Indictment would air, followed at 5:30 by Fort Laramie. The show debuted on January 22nd.
Fort Laramie. Fort Laramie, starring Raymond Burr as Captain Lee Quince. Specially transcribed tales of the dark and tragic ground of the wild frontier. The saga of fighting men who rode the rim of empire. And the dramatic story of Lee Quince, Captain of Cavalry.
Captain Quince.
Sergeant Gorce, how are you?
Oh, it's sure good to see you, Captain. You look kind of funny, though.
What do you mean?
Well, them clothes, mufti. I ain't used to you out of uniform.
I'll be back in uniform at midnight tonight, Sergeant. We'll stay in town till then, and you can buy me a drink.
Me? I thought you was going to get rich in St. Louis.
Did I say that?
Well, you talked about nothing else before your leave come through.
Just proves you shouldn't believe everything you hear, Sergeant.
Yes, sir. I'll try to remember that.
See that you do. And to really fool you, I may go back to St. Louis.
Quit the Army?
Man can make money there, Sergeant. I don't mean gambling. I mean honestly. In an honest business. Buying things. Selling them.
Well, sir, the Army's sure no place for a man who wants to get rich. I'll say that.
The Army's no place for a man who wants to do any living at all. You're either turning black with the boredom of garrison, or you're riding hell-bent into nowhere.
That's sure enough true, Captain.
Oh, come on, let's get our drink. How's B Company, Sergeant?
Company's fine, sir. Major Daggett's going to be mighty glad to see you back at Fort Laramie.
He isn't going to see me till midnight.
He'll be waiting up. Send me into town to tell you.
Oh? Something wrong?
Yes, sir.
Well, what?
Arapahoes. They've been raiding for horses. Massacred a whole family over in the basin about 10 days ago.
You mean they jumped the reservation?
Not the whole tribe, just a few of them, I guess. Mr. Seibert's took B Company out last week, but he didn't have any luck.
Why not?
I don't know, Captain. I wasn't with him.
What?
I've been on sick list till 2 days ago.
Sick list? You?
Yes, sir. Pack mule kicked me in the belly.
Oh. Well, a little whiskey will cure that, Sergeant. Well, here we are.
Mr. Seibert's is feeling mighty bad about it.
Your belly?
Like I said, it's good to have you back, Captain.
Bottle of rye and 2 glasses.
Coming up. The Army. Hey, Moylan. Look at what came in.
What's his trouble?
Oh.
8 soldiers, I guess. Like a lot of people. Since Richmond.
Yeah, too much war, maybe. I guess everybody'd like to forget it now.
We'd all like to forget it. There's a war still going on.
You're right, sir. Who do they think stands between them and all the hostiles out there waiting to hack them to pieces? Who does all their dirty work for them?
It isn't like people to be grateful for any favors, Sergeant.
No, sir, I guess not.
When I think of the troops aching for home while they sweat and freeze and spill their blood all over the frontier for 50 cents a day, it makes me mad.
Tell me about St. Louis, Captain.
Here's your liquor, gentlemen. Hey, you! Hold it!
You know them, Sergeant?
No, sir.
What's your trouble, mister?
My name ain't Mister. It's Rudio. I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to the soldier.
I'm with the soldier.
You stay out of this. You know what's good for you.
You tell him, Moylan.
What do you want from me? I never saw you before.
Yeah. You won't want to see us again after we're through with you.
What's this all about?
We don't like soldiers drinking where we drink, mister. We like to teach 'em a lesson now and then. Don't we, Moylan?
Yeah, we do it, too.
Now,
You
just
shut up, mister.
What's the matter with you? Coming in here with a soldier. Gonna drink with him, too.
Rudio, I just guess that he ain't no better than no soldier himself. Just scum floating with scum. That's what I call it. Well?
Okay. Sergeant Gorce,
Yes, sir.
you can have Moylan there.
Thank you, sir.
Move out.
I'll buy you that drink now, Captain Quince.
You can buy the first one, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Vic Perrin, who played Sergeant Gorce, was by then one of Hollywood radio's most accomplished actors.
I was on the post at midnight, Major. I wanted to get back into uniform before reporting.
He'd begun as an announcer before transitioning after World War II. By the early 1950s, he was a familiar voice on both Dragnet and Gunsmoke.
We've known each other a long time, Major.
You did a lot of Gunsmokes down through the
About
years, right?
3 out of 4, I would say. And my week was incomplete if I didn't have a call for the show. If I had a choice between taking a weekend cruise from here to Ensenada or working a Gunsmoke show, I would take the Gunsmoke show. It was more fun. It was absolutely heaven. We laughed until we cried all through the rehearsal.
Really?
It was like the script on the first reading. There was no resemblance to what the eventual show would be. It was like doing Second City. It was improv from the very first line on until we struggled through. How they ever got even a semblance of a timing on the show, I don't know.
Reminds me of a line attributed to Bob Hope when they were doing road pictures, and some of the writers came on the set, and of course Hope and Crosby were guilty, or I don't know if that's the word to use, of a lot of ad-libbing. And Hope, noticing the writers watching them work, said, "Listen, you hear any of your lines, yell bingo," you know? I don't know if he really did that or not.
But it was fun. It really was.
Sure, he's green, but a few Arapaho can hide easy from a whole troop of cavalry beating its way through this country.
In its January 30th, 1956 issue, Broadcasting Magazine gave the series a glowing
Then
review.
I'll come back for the company.
No. No, it's too slow. There isn't time.
Better let me try it, sir.
I said no, Captain.
You haven't got very far your way, Major.
You have your orders.
They stated, no dog and boy story. Fort Laramie is rather a Wild West version of What Price Glory, whose main characters,
Oh, Captain.
in this case Captain Lee Quince and Sergeant Gorce, spend half their time grousing about how tough life in the Army is, and the other half proving that it's the only life for them.
Sergeant Gorce were in a brawl earlier this evening in town.
Conduct unbecoming an officer.
You should learn to control your temper, Captain.
I wonder what family the Arapahoes are putting the knife to tonight, Major Daggett.
Should never start this sort of thing with you. Take your patrol.
Yes, sir. Any further orders?
May have Sergeant Gorce and Lieutenant Seiberts, but no other officers or non-commissioned officers.
Right.
Pass your men through the main gates of the post half hour before reveille. Any questions?
No, sir.
Then move out.
Writer John Meston and producer-director Norman MacDonald, whose work on Gunsmoke has won them critical acclaim, have in Fort Laramie a good locale for an equally successful series. Raymond Burr as the captain and Vic Perrin as the sergeant handle their parts with professional aplomb.
Must be new, Mr. Seiberts.
Yes, sir. It is.
A special fanfare is due Bill James and Ray Kemper, the program's sound effects men,
A man's a fool.
for the sounds that give the heroic adventures an auditory cloak of authenticity.
It had always been a rule of thumb in radio that there should not be any dead air, that people must keep talking.
What if the man likes it out here, away from people?
Well, we changed that, not because we deliberately set out to change it, but just because the people we were working with didn't talk all the time. So we had to fill it with sound patterns. We had 3 sound men for the most part, Bill James, Tom Hanley, Ray Kemper, who contributed more to the show than anybody could ever imagine. For example, the boys on their own time realized that we were having trouble with live gunshots. They, on a Saturday, went out with some equipment of their own and recorded shots on tape with a 45 and with a 38 and with a 32, and I think with a 22. These effects then could be played directly through the line so that it didn't flatten out and become just a dull pop.
Well, the patrol out of scouts, Sergeant. 1,000 yards between men. If there's any Indians around, I want to know it. The men will watch us at the cabin for arm signals.
Right, sir.
And then join Mr. Seiberts and me down there. Move out.
Yes, sir.